Hello, welcome to Mondays with Mira, and I have a really super sweet book today, When I Was Born. And this was originally published in Portuguese, and then it was reprinted in English in Britain, and then it was brought to the United States. So, and you'll see a little bit of that sort of foreign influence in the translation and kind of the language choices that are sometimes a little quirky. So let's get started. When I was born, I had never seen anything, only the darkness of my mother's tummy. And generally, you want to avoid white type on a dark background unless it's big and bold. This type could actually be a little bigger, but it's still very legible because it's very bold. I had never seen anything before I was born, only the darkness of my mother's tummy. When I was born, I had never seen the sun or a flower or a face. I didn't know anybody, and nobody knew me. When I was born, I didn't know what the sea was. I didn't know that there were forests and a world with mountains and beaches. One of the many things I really like about this book is the very simple graphic quality of the illustrations that are both very contemporary and then also have a very sort of vintage stylized look reminiscent of the 50s as well. When I was born, I had never seen a bird, and I didn't know that some animals had feathers or that others had scales or that others had hair like my dog. So we're going from the unfamiliar to the very familiar. And so it progresses. Oh, this one's just gorgeous. Now, normally you want to avoid anything that's in the gutter here, and the gutter is where the binding is. And I like to tell my illustration students, stay out of the gutter. Another favorite one. This one's, both my writing and illustration students, I like to say, get the drama out of your life and into your work. So this has just, isn't this adorable? When I was born, I had never played with stones or got muddy hands. I had never made tunnels in the sand. My hands had never touched anything except each other. When I was born, I did not know there was a sky, or that the sky could change, or that clouds were so beautiful. When I was born, everything was new. Everything was about to start. So it's just this very lyrical, sing-songy text. And we've got these, terrific, the pink and the green contrasts here, and the way that their hands are forming together to just make this wonderful positive and negative space that's really interesting for the viewer. And it goes through, and we have all sorts of fun characters that are introduced. And as I said, we go into colors. My eyes were amazed to discover that everything is different. Cherries are red, gardens are green, the sea is blue, my hat is yellow. Little birds can be brown, clouds are white. When the lights go out, everything is black. So there's lots, intergenerational, there's lots of great stuff in this seemingly simple book. And then I'm not going to give it all away, even though it's hard not to. Oh, it's just a lovely, lovely book. The illustrations are very reminiscent, especially this one with the birds, of Matisse's cutouts from the early 20th century. But they're still fresh. And nice graphic design work too, how the text follows the steps and how the illustrator totally plays with their positive and negative space. So it's really equally engaging what's happening and what isn't happening. Okay, just a quick glimpse, but I'm not going to read it out. Whoop, there's your glimpse. And here's your end papers holding it all together. I love this book. I found it at the library, and I think I'm actually going to buy it for my collection because I just like it so very much. And, you know, and I love, you know, how, look at all the variety of the different birds. And there's a little bit of pattern in there, but it's mostly shape. It's mostly strong graphic shapes. And then the other thing that's interesting with this too is if you look at the white tree, if you look at the very edges, they're not completely straight. And I'm just going to see real quick if it tells us what the medium was. So there's nothing at the end of the book. Let's see if it's at the very beginning. No, it doesn't say. So it could be gouache, it could be cut paper, it could be all sorts of things. And my guess is cut paper and gouache. And let's find a favorite. Just look how cleverly this is done. And we've got, you know, we've got diagonals happening so that it's not totally static. This is at an angle. Just a very, very sweet book. So, let me say, and I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but this is, I want to say thank you to Isabel Minhos Martins and Madalena Matoso. And the book was published by Tate. Tate Trustees by Tate Publishing, a division of Tate Enterprises in London. And it doesn't say who it was originally. Oh yes, Planeta Tangerina. And so if you want to find out what's coming next in illustration, check out what's happening in Europe. Japan, Asia, a lot of foreign countries are doing really cutting edge work. And then it trickles down here to the US. I mean, we like to think of ourselves as always being in the front of things. But with picture book illustration, that's not always the case. So I hope you love this book as much as I do. And that's it for today's Mondays with Mira. Bye. Thank you.